Elite Facts presents
10 most disgusting and embarrassing jobs in existence.
10.
Refuse collector. Listen, it's a nasty job, but someone's got to do it. Not to mention, we shouldn't judge those who are in that line of work. If anything, we should be extremely grateful to them for the service they provide. Well, that being said, even though it's a respectable line of work, you've got to admit, it must not be pleasant at all. Let's start with the work hours. More often than not, trash collection begins in the very early hours of the morning, and on some occasions can end towards the later hours of the day. Now imagine working those long hours while constantly being around a huge pile of smelly trash in transit. Workers spend their days in clothes that smell like death and picking up all the disgusting waste that no one wants. It might be a helpful service, but it's definitely something we wouldn't want to do for a living. No offense.
9.
Kearny. Yeah, this list took a pretty strange twist relatively quickly. It's pretty obvious that this job is a punchline in today's society. Luckily, this isn't a common job, as this job tends to be for those who are vagrants or drug addicts or ex-convicts. Whether they're performers in the circus or one of those guys behind those rigged circus games, it's not exactly an occupation to boast about. Because of the nature of this occupation, they're allowed to move around without the accusing stares they get when staying in one place for too long. When your job description reads, quote, teeth optional, one-eyed people are sought after, then you know something seriously wrong has happened to the applicants in their life. We suppose the only perk to this occupation is the fact that you're constantly living like a quote-unquote rock star without any kind of real talent. Still, we don't think this is something we'd want to have on our resume. We'd rather just say we were unemployed for that period of time when applying for another job.
8.
Telemarketer. Okay, on paper it's not all that embarrassing, but when you look at it from the perspective of the telemarketer making the phone call, this can be one of the hardest and most embarrassing jobs in the world, as you're always at risk of being screamed at by the person on the other end of the phone. People do get a little excited when the phone rings. Anyone could be calling. There are infinite possibilities. A new job offer, the woman you met Saturday night, or maybe your number came up in Saturday's national lottery draw. Well, instead, it's a telemarketer trying to sell you a timeshare or some other crap you don't want. 9 times out of 10, that person will absolutely rain down curses like hellfire on the telemarketer making the phone call. So yeah, it's not really a great job to have if you enjoy a positive work environment, to say the least.
7.
Sandwich board advertiser. More often than not, when a business can't afford the rental space for a billboard sign, they'll go for the next best thing. They'll hire a person to hold a sign on the street for them. If an inanimate object can do a job more effectively and for longer, the sign holder's intellect really comes into question. And these people are usually positioned on the corner of busy streets, forcing them to breathe constant car exhaust and dodge projectiles thrown by teenagers. Now, the only real positive to this job is that you're getting paid for pretty much doing nothing. I mean, think about it. All you have to do is either wear or hold a sign and walk back and forth in front of the business with it. It takes zero brain power. Sure, it's embarrassing, but a job's a job, and if you're in a tight spot and need to earn some cash, any old fool can do this job.
6.
Dishwasher. On a public level, this isn't embarrassing in the slightest, as you're pretty much out of the public sight. But it is the type of job where you'll more often than not think to yourself while cleaning dishes, what am I doing with my life? Now, to be fair, it really depends on the environment. If you're working in a very friendly and relaxed kitchen, which, let's be honest, working at a restaurant is anything but relaxed, then the job will probably be all right. But if you're just cast off to the other side of the kitchen, cleaning dishes all night with no contact with anyone else, it can become grating and even depressing. Unfortunately, it's a job that needs to be done by someone, as really, without a person washing the dishes, the restaurant's hygiene level comes way down, thus giving the restaurant a bad reputation, which causes them to lose money and go out of business. So actually, when you think about it that way, the dishwasher is the backbone to the restaurant industry.
5.
Sewage cleaner. What? Did you think the most disgusting job on this list was going to be refuse collector? Clearly, it's far from it. Here we have another job that really stinks. A sewage cleaner has to deal with some of the worst odors known to man on a daily basis. In some less developed countries, sewage cleaners even have to dive into the sewage and clean it manually. No thanks.
4.
Cat and dog food tester. So yeah, the job title alone should pretty much tell you why this job is embarrassing. Being a food tester can be a hit or miss type situation. I mean, it's not like you get to choose what you want to test out. One day you could be trying out McDonald's new McRib recipe. The next day you could be trying a new variation of Marmite. So yeah, the job of a food tester can be good some days and not so good on other days. But if you're applying to be a cat and dog food tester, you pretty much know what you're getting yourself into. Pretty much every single test is going to be a challenge, as according to people who actually have this job, 99.9% of the time the food tastes like total crap. What a shocker, right? Now let's say that you're lucky enough to get something that tastes half decent. Well, it doesn't really matter because you're still eating cat or dog food. No matter how you spin it, it's still embarrassing. But hey, a free meal is a free meal, I guess.
3,
Sperm Center Janitor. Come on, we don't really need to go into too much detail on this one, do we? I mean, the job title pretty much sums it up. All we know is that someone needs to do the dirty deed of cleaning up the errant trouser gravy after the room has been in use.
2,
Manure Inspector. Once again, the job title pretty much speaks for itself. Animal manure is often used as a fertilizer to help crops grow. I mean, that's pretty much common knowledge, but do you ever wonder how the manure is actually rounded up? Well, as you'd expect, it's rounded up manually, but before it can be used on crops, it must be inspected first. That's right, before it can be used, it needs to meet certain standards. So the manure has to be collected and inspected by a manure inspector. Yeah, we wouldn't be bragging about having this job either.
1,
Renderer. Oh boy, rendering. You mean like rendering videos? Rendering models for games? No? Well, what do you mean by rendering then? Well, put it this way, it's not at all a pleasant thing. Rendering in this case is a process that converts waste animal tissue into stable, value-added materials. Rendering can refer to any processing of animal products into more useful materials, or more narrowly, to the rendering of whole animal fatty tissue into purified fats like lard or tallow. Rendering can be carried out on an industrial, farm, or kitchen scale. Don't worry, we're not going to show you some of the more messed up stuff, but believe us, it ain't pretty. If you have a weak stomach, this job is most definitely not for you. And that's our list. Did we leave any out? Well, let us know in the comments below. Please remember to subscribe and tap the bell button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.